beautiful thing. Let's move him back up. Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What's up, people? It's your boy Jatuan. I'm here today in Kerbal Space Program. Now, what I wanted to do today was show you how to do a little bit of editing, because with new robotic parts, there's new limitations, and you know I'm not the type for limitations at all. So what I wanted to do is show you a part that I've been tinkering with. So what you see here, we still have our parts here, you know, the light duty, and then the standard rotor, and then the heavy rotor. Nothing's changed on those. But you know what? I wanted to have something that was faster, because this rotor here, if you take a look, let's go ahead and grab just this rotor here. And now you have this rotor and you see your RPM limit, 430. That's not bad. And then you can go here and you see your RPM limit here, and it's 360, and your RPM limit of your heavy rotor here is 460. So those are pretty safe limits that you have there. You know, they're not going to keep you going extremely fast. You can make propellers, you can make chopper blades, all these fun things, but I don't like limitations. I want to be able to have the thing spin as fast as I want it to spin and do something crazy, which is kind of the normal around here. So I went ahead and tweaked the medium standard rotor and created the high performance rotor. So let's snap this bad boy on here. Looks exactly the same, no real difference. All the models and everything are the same because I'm using their models. I just made myself a new configuration file and did some tweaking. And you'll see here, the RPM limit is 10,000. Now what I found in this test is that the RPMs, I'm thinking the reason it's at that speed is because 500 is probably the safest stable speed I've been able to spin it up at without doing some interesting finagling. To show you this, I actually have a craft I created. So this is Test Rod 5.1. And this was my latest, and you'll see, yes, I have these really weird structural panel wheels on here. The reason I did that is because if you don't do that, well, you're going to get some interesting problems when you try to fly. What I did notice is I actually need some additional yaw prevention in here, because it does still want to kick over. So we're going to go like this, and we're going to drop this down, and this is just going to be yaw, and hopefully it doesn't throw us off too much. This is a really delicately balanced aircraft, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of it's coming from the imbalance, since it doesn't want to be used as a propeller. That lift up front, it does not want to be used in said fashion. So we're going to try to use it in said fashion anyway, because no one's telling us what to do. Alright, so let's go ahead and slide that on out, and let's take this for a flight. And we'll take a look at here how I was able to do this. This did take a few mods. I have Fire Spitter, Airplanes Plus, and Pure is my inline electric generator, and it just converts liquid fuel and intake air over to electric charge. It's been around for a while. And then here you'll see I actually am using 2 of the high performance rotors per side, so we're able to spin those up really fast, and it's really awesome when we get it full speed. But we don't want to go full speed, that's the problem. So what I'll do, we're actually going to go to our horizontal, and we're going to open up our track editor, and to show you it's no trick of the tape, You'll see right here 500. We can drag this all the way up to 10,000. So yes, we have modified this to 10,000. And I'm going to limit this to 1,000. And then I'll come down to this one. That's the torque limit. And I'll limit this one to 1,000. So we can show you the stability, instability that you will run into. Okay, but I think before we do that, we should explain what all it took in order to make this really happen. Alright, so what you're seeing here, this is how I was able to figure out what I needed to do. I went into the module, and this is the module for the standard rotor. And basically I just took it and I renamed this from rotor 4 to rotor 5 after making a copy of the configuration file. So after I did that, I left the model and everything else alone. No changes there. So then I just scrolled down a bit and I took a look at their new module here. Module dynamic nodes is fine. I'm not messing with that. I wanted to take a look at their module robotic servo rotor. So if you see here, they have several attachment nodes. Not touching those. What we need to take a look at here is to traverse velocity limits, because I noticed that the traverse velocity limit in the previous one was actually the max RPM limit, and that was also here. And you'll see there's also that RPM limit. So I needed to change this, and I needed to change this. So go ahead and mark these two real quick. And let's set this one to style token style 1, and RPM, let's set that one once again to style 1. So that was what we really needed to change. And that being said, and I needed to figure out what that was. I don't like to just change things willy-nilly. I like to know what the heck I need to change. I also modified a bit because I went down here, and for the resource, I knocked the resource down a bit for testing because I didn't really want to finagle that too much. That's really not my thing. But I didn't want to have to fight the system because I'm working with really high speeds here. So I went ahead and took a look at traverse velocity limits. As you can see here, I went to their website. This is actually available online for everyone to take a look at, and you just have to go, if I can do that properly. If you search for KSP and then search for traverse velocity limits, it's going to take you here, and it's going to give you all the API class expansion, all the details of what these parts are. You just have to know kind of what you're looking for. And I just did a quick search here, and it's going to show you this is the minimum and maximum traverse speeds in meters per second for linear motion and degrees per second of rotational motion, RPM, for rotors. That's exactly what I'm looking for, and that's exactly what our limiter was. So what we wanted to do is go ahead and tweak that. So you'll see some other ones in here. You probably don't want to modify too many things in here. So once again, you have this value that you want to set. Keep that lower the minimum to 0, or else it's going to keep spinning when you want it to stop. And then set your upper to whatever you want it to be. You want it to be 1 million, set it to 1 million. 10 trillion, set to 10 trillion. Whatever you would like, the game's going to recognize only but so much, and you're going to destroy things a lot faster if you set it too high. So, that being said, let's go back to the game and take a look at what higher speeds do, and why you probably don't want to set it too high. So here's your craft here. Now what we want to do is show you what happens when you set this too high. So we're going to open our editor so you can see exactly where we're having this set to. We're going to boot to this side so my ugly head doesn't get in the way. And we're just going to take a quick peek at this one and this one, because I want you to be able to see each one. Alright, so let's take off our brakes. Let's turn on our electric charge. Let's turn on our SAS. And we're going to start spinning things up. The rear ones rotate away from each other. The outside ones rotate towards each other. So we have the counter rotation. And you see our RPM limit slowly going up. And as it goes up, you'll see the unfortunate thing is, just like in the other stock props, it starts to pull away from the model, and that's not just visually, that is physically, so it will come into contact with other things, which is why I have such a high angle here. Right now we're at 463, and you'll see if we go too high, it's going to start to vibrate. But right now we're actually pretty good. We're slightly over 500, and it's still mostly stable. Eventually it'll start shaking itself apart. So let's go ahead and show you that real quickly. If I can get it to do it this time. I think by gently sliding it out, it's actually, oh, there it goes, there it goes. Okay, okay, okay. And what happens if you let it keep going like that? It's going to shake itself completely apart, and your wings will detach. And right now we have a very unstable flight. This is not what we want. If we had it set higher, it's going to bounce us even more. We're going to start to have a lot of yaw problems because it's starting to tweak us every which direction. Let's take a look at what's going on here. This is chaotic. We want this one to be a small blue tornado going forward, but it's ripping forward, it's ripping backwards. It's basically causing us a lot of turmoil, and we're going to end up crashing unless we keep steady control on this thing. Very hard to control. So let's go ahead and bring that back down, and let's show you the difference here. So we may not be as fast, but we have a more stable control of these. So let's see if we can get this to balance out. See, right there is starting to lose control again. So we have to tone it back down a bit. Toning it down, 735. Still a lot of vibrations, a lot of craziness going on here. It's just bouncing around too much. And you'll see here, these parts actually will start vibrating. If you're going too fast, they'll start vibrating more and more. That's causing it to vary. That's causing our variation. So we don't want that at all. And right now we're about to go into a nosedive. Okay. So let's get up to 500. And then we can get a nice, stable, less than beautiful flight going on, but a flight nonetheless. There we go. So now we have a very slow, a terribly slow, this thing should be a biplane, slow airplane that will fly, and we just had to be a little bit over our traditional RPM limits. So our typical limit is just a bit too low, but that is the safety limit, it seems, for our rotors. And you see now they're counter-spinning, and they're actually counter-spinning very cleanly. And I kind of like this design. I just wish I had it faster in this demo. but it works and it's stable, so I can't complain too much, I suppose. But yeah, that is basically what I was playing with. So I mean, if you want to tweak traverse limits on different parts, you definitely can. If you want a high-powered pogo stick that will explode the whole runway, you could do it with the extendatrons that they have. You could do a various number of things. You could flap your wings really hard with the servos and see if that gets you up into the air. Make your own little hummingbird. So there's a lot of things. If you can figure out the limit per part, you can make your own high limit part and then see what happens for you. I am interested to see what happens. So let's take a look at some of these other parts that they have, because I'm curious as to how this would work with some of the other parts. We're not going to test them all the parts today. I'm going to leave that to you guys for your curiosity to do. But let's go ahead and take a look at least at some of these Serenity parts under Robotics. Well, if you are wondering how to get to these parts, let's pause our flight and let's jump back to our display capture here. If you're wondering how to get to there, what you need to do is you need to go to Kerbal Space Program. Your install for Steam is going to be, well, you need to know where your Steam install is. Steam Apps, Common, Kerbal Space Program, Game Data, Squad Expansion, Serenity, Parts. And now we need to go under Robotics. They have it nicely broken up here. I'm going to use Notepad++ because I prefer Notepad++, and we're going to take a look at Hinge 1. And let's take a look. So we have our traverse velocity limits here. And if you see here, traverse velocity limits of 180. So let's take a look at that limitation. And if you're ever wondering what the part's name is, you can actually go in here. It's the G11 hinge under the title. So hinge 01 that we are editing is G11 hinge. So let's go to the G11 hinge. Here it is. The smallest little hinge that they have. So this one, as you can see here, it has the angle limit 90-90, target angle 90, traverse 180, and that's the fastest speed it's going to be able to move. So if we go to here, we're going to put that there, and we're actually just going to do a really quick silly thing here. We're going to put this one here, go to target angle, and we are going to then go to our track editor, and we're going to go here, and we're going to start a second node here. We're going to move this to 250 here, and then all the way back up here. So you'll see here it goes up and down. So now if we wanted to do that, is with the traverse rate of 180. So if we wanted to actually speed that up to make our own little hummingbird and probably shake our craft apart at the same time, we would want to actually change that. So that is 180. So that means we would have to go to here and switch this from 180 to 1800 or what have you. And let's see if 180 is anywhere else in here that I'm seeing. Drive spring multiplier, dampening multiplier, have not looked those up yet. Connected mass scale. Okay, well, let's see if we can. We're actually just going to save this one, just this one time. I want to see what this does. Don't save. And I'm going to show you the way I get around all these limitations. So Control Alt F12 for me. And we're going to go to our database and we're going to quickly reload our database. So you see here, it doesn't look like it's doing it here, but what I want to do is take a look at what it looks like in the real world. And let's slowly increase this. Whoa! Well, that was something I wasn't expecting. Oh my god, it snapped so fast. Pah! Whoa! So we need to go here, we need to turn dampening all the way off. And now we can quick save. Okay, ready? It's time. Let's see what happens here. Open editor. Let's make sure this is set right. And let's go. Oh my god, yes. What happens if we set that value higher? Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, yes. You know what, we're gonna do this over again. And we're gonna set it up even more. This does give me plenty of ideas of how I could actually make this work for a normal catapult. And you don't have to use a bunch of parts or anything. Just have to make a tossing arm and hopefully it'll stay on at whatever speed you put it at. So that's actually a beautiful thing. That's actually a beautiful thing. Let's move him back up. Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, that is a hilarious way. I think I could be happy to end on that note there. Oh my god, that is hilarious. Oh man, it just launched right into the air. Well, if you like what you see, hit the like button, drop me in the comment, let me know what you think. And hopefully you will give it a try. If you run into any difficulties, let me know, and I can try to help you walk through the getting it all set. But this can be a lot of fun, as you can see here. This can be a lot of fun. Oh my god, a little Kerbal pulse all over again. It's happening all over again. It's happening all over again. Oh man, that is awesome. Good control. Get it, Jeb. Alright. So if you like what you see, hit the like button, drop me a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know what tweaks and what things you've created from all this, because you can do a lot with this. It's hilarious and it's fun. Until then, I'll catch you in the next video. It's your boy Jatwan, I'm out. Peace. Oh my god, that is hilarious.